All right, we got something interesting here from David Coletto. For those of you who don't know, he is the CEO of Abacus Data, which is a very credible polling firm here in Canada. And he wrote something on Substack. I'm going to show you a little bit of this. He says, "Built to last? Why Poilievre's coalition holds while Carney's phrase. Some thoughts and data from my latest poll." Now, he got this Substack here. I'll just read this. The post is for paid subscribers. I am not paid on a paid subscriber on Substack. So I'll just read this, and then I'll get into my point. Now, before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing that. So he says, something I have argued before, and the data again confirms, is that the Conservative coalition in 2025 is more durable than the Liberal one. While both parties start with strong loyalty from those who voted for them in the last election, the composition and motivations of their coalitions differ in ways that give the Conservatives an advantage moving forward. Now, there's a link here that goes to his last poll, and I'm not going to go over to this specifically. I've already covered this in previous videos. But you see here, right, the issues and the numbers, blue Conservative, red Liberal, etc., etc., etc. The Conservatives are leading big time in a lot of these issues. Immigration, crime, even with a slight lead in healthcare, etc., etc., etc. But it makes me wonder, and again, I want to ask you guys this question so you can let me know in the comment section. Is David Coletto right here? You saw his poll showing that the Conservatives took a slight lead. Now, again, it's one data point, it's one poll. We're not anywhere close to an election yet, but Mark Carney has not had a good start, right? With the Air Canada fiasco, the dropping the retaliatory tariffs, which this poll did not even reflect yet because it was done before he made that decision. No budget, overspending, not really getting anything done, extended vacation, broken promises, soft on Trump. This is not what he campaigned on. So it hasn't been a good start for him. Now, that being said, it's also very early. He does something about the crime, the economy, the immigration, the housing market, the renting market, etc., etc. That can start to change, for sure. But then you have to wonder, is that even in the plans for him? Is he just trying to make this once great country that Trudeau has really started to ruin? Is he just trying to ruin that even further? Is that the plan here? He's just trying to scare us into believing him, that he's the crisis guy, and then he's going to crap all over us? And it makes you wonder, when we do have the next election, which I think is coming in the next year, I'm actually going to go back on my original prediction. I don't think it's going to be 2 years of April 28th. I think it's going to be in about a year or so from now. You also have to remember the interest rates are going up in January, and in March, the NDP will have a new leader. That should help the NDP, hurt the Liberals, which automatically helps the Conservatives. So my question to you is, can Mark Carney recover from this horrific start? It's been a disaster. It's not been good. Same cabinet basically as Trudeau. There's nothing concrete that you can say that, hey, Mark Carney has done this and this and this, and he's making this place a better country than Trudeau does. He's way different. He's really turning things around here for us Canadians. There's nothing you can really point to. Some people will point to that tiny little tax break we got, where we're each going to get like $15 a month. Well, rent is doubled. Oh, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you, buddy. Like, give me a break. That's not nearly enough considering what he hasn't done. You can't really criticize too much of what he's done because he hasn't really done anything, and that's the problem. And a lot of swing voters are already having buyer's remorse. Ned Keurig has talked about this. He's received calls. How many? Who knows? Is that enough to switch an election? No. But there are some people who voted Liberal, and they're already wondering, did I make a mistake? And again, the Liberals don't have another Hail Mary to throw. They don't have anyone else that's popular. That's why Mark Carney was put in the first place, because no one likes any other member of Parliament or cabinet member in the Liberal Party. They're not well liked federally. They don't have anyone else to bring in if Carney fails. The NDP is not going to do worse than what they just did. They can't possibly pick a worse leader than Jagmeet Singh, can they? I guess anything's possible, but My God, I can't imagine that happens. So you see all these things happening. Can Mark Carney recover from this disastrous start? Of course, it's theoretically possible. It's logically possible. But there is something about people who are not politicians. They don't know really what they're doing, and they don't know how to persuade people unless there's a crisis, like Mr. Crisis Man has said. Well, the crisis is fading. It's already slipped back into second place amongst most important issues. And third, fourth, fifth issues are creeping up. It's very likely that within a year from now, that's not even going to be a top 5 issue. And that's what helped Mark Carney win the election, with him being the one who replaced Trudeau and the NDP crashing out. That crisis fades, NDP comes back a little bit, and Mark Carney is not doing anything about the key, top, important issues. He's going to start looking like Trudeau. Not to mention, we also have to remember that on September 15th, Pierre Poilievre will be back in Parliament, and he's got a lot of receipts to go after Mark Carney with. Built to last, in terms of Pierre Poilievre, I think he's built to last. There's a reason the Liberals are scared of him. Because they know he's against the agenda. That's why they didn't talk any crazy shit about Aaron O'Toole. That guy's liberal light. Why do you think Doug Ford and Chrystia Freeland take pictures together at barbecues with their arm around each other? Because he's a liberal. He's a liberal who wears a blue hat. That's all it is. That's why he does so well in Ontario, which is a pretty damn liberal province. But Pierre Poilievre, say what you want about him. Yeah, there were some embarrassing things that happened on election night, but his support has still held strong. Carney's has too, yes. But it is fading a little bit. And again, if you told me back in April that in August we would see even one poll showing that Pierre Poilievre was ahead, and not only that, but ahead on a bunch of key issues, I would say, no, it's too early for the honeymoon to be over. And maybe the honeymoon's not over, who knows? But it looks like it is, and now people are going to start to really question Mark Carney. Hey, is this really the guy? Because, I don't know, hasn't been a good first 6 months. And then March, April comes around. Hey, it hasn't been a good first year. Interest rates are going up. NDP's got a leader now. How many more blunders is Mark Carney going to have in the next 6 months? Or does he turn it around? I don't know. I just have a feeling that Mark Carney is doing exactly what he was supposed to do. He's just got to make it look as good as possible, and he's got to try to scare people into voting for him again. I just don't know how many times it's going to work. He'll always get the liberal vote, don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of liberals here. But I think the swing voters are starting to have buyer's remorse. But really, why I made this video is because I want to know what you guys think. Is Pierre Poilievre built to last? Bonnie Critchley made a point that he's not. His numbers are tanking, apparently, according to that. Well, I won't say the word. But she thinks, and all these liberals think, that his numbers are tanking, but it's not true. His support is still very strong, and as Mark Carney dwindles, Pierre Poilievre could prove once and for all that he is built to last.